Today we are privileged to have a very special guest who is an author, a husband, a father, and also an entrepreneur. Welcome, Mr. Stanley Kumolu Johnson.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nicole Hilary, for having me.
All right,
It's my
welcome.
pleasure.
Okay, so tell us, what's your new book about and what inspired you to write it?
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you are in the world. My name is Stanley Kumolu Johnson. As Nicole has rightly said, I came up with a new book titled Our Sacred Alliance, meaning the connection through the years. So this is a book that came to thoughts when we had our 10-year anniversary. We're still 10 now, and we'll soon be 11 years. So I looked back and I thought of what I can make of it, how far we have been, how far we have gone, and most importantly, what led to why I wrote the book was because I'm a marriage counselor. I have a number of mentees who during the course of counseling had asked me questions. Do you have a book? All these things you have said, do you have it written somewhere? Do you have a book where we can refer to get everything that you have said, or to always refer to? Because the counseling was always just like a class. I just keep talking and all of that. I don't have a note. I don't really jot anything down. We just, roll as it were. And then many of them have always asked, do you have a book? Especially when you refer them to go and read a book, they ask, do you have any book? Have you read? So that's one of the reasons. One of them one time was really particular, and while taking notes, has asked me, do you have a book? I think you should put all of this, into a work of art, and then that should be able to enlighten so many people, in the area of marriage. So then, I decided to join them, writing notes as I was speaking, recording myself and all of that, and that got me to this point where I had to write a book about our marriage, myself and my wife, and how long we've been together, and describing everything that we have employed in the process to get us going, how we have been able to stay together through thick and thin, through the rough part, through the easy part, and everything we have adopted, lessons we have learned, what we have decided to not do again, and what we have seen work well that we have decided to adopt and stay true to. So I try to put all of that together.
That's amazing. So if you're listening in today and you've ever wondered why love language is very important in a relationship, then hang in there, watch till the end so you can hear more about that. Now, one of your chapters talked about keeping fun and playfulness alive in a relationship or in a marriage. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Keeping fun alive in the marriage is actually something that couple have to be intentional about. When it goes sour in the marriage, as at that point, each spouse begin to get tired of the relationship, as it looks like there's nothing so interesting about the marriage anymore. So you begin to lose the vibe, you begin to lose that joy, that experience that you had during the time you were courting or dating, and then, you begin to then look out or begin to look for something else in replacement for that fun, that is actually missing. So very importantly, keeping it alive is something that in the book, if you go through, you'll see quite a number of ways that you can keep fun alive in the marriage. You can tailor it to individual perspective and how best to take care of yourself and to make yourself happy, using the love language, looking at the personality of your spouse, and then thinking of the best way to move forward in terms of keeping that fun alive. So that is something relative. There's no one size fits all. So that's why I've just put together what we did and how we're able to put things together to just keep the fun alive. Things we do, things we look after for, these things we look out for, and things we look forward to enjoy together. So that really continues to bring in the sparks, and then that gets you excited about your spouse.
I completely agree with you, honestly, because life in itself is serious enough. So you want something in your relationship to, keep the fun alive. So talking about that, how do you then weather life issues when they come, and how do you support your spouse to go through such life challenges without losing connection?
How we support each other going through life challenges without losing
Losing
connection. Yeah, well, life is full of up and downs, and many times there are issues to be dealt with. In a relationship that is made up of husband and wife, I know that not everybody is happy to pay tax,
True.
but what looks like conflict looks like that thing that is a tax that you have to pay. You definitely will have to go through that rough part where you have to argue, where you have to prove your point, where you have to bring your case forward to ensure that what you're saying is right and attention must be paid to it or it must be done. So I tell couples most of the time when I give examples of what we do, the way we argue and discuss issues from when we were 1 year is different from when we're five, and
True.
or what your situation is as at that time. So best bet, to put it in a very basic format, you want us to go to just for example, so you want us to go to Canada or you
Mm.
want us to go to the US, and then the argument starts. No, we're going US. No, we're going Canada. No, I prefer this. I prefer that. Well, rather than saying, okay, if that's where you want to go, go. I'm not going with you. I'm going US. You go your way. Do you understand? There can be better ways to bring your points forward. I say it like you bring your flip chart and say, okay, and you draw it in a tabular form. If I go to the US, I'm able to do this. You also can do this. We can get this done. We can get that done. We will have this on our passport. We will do this, and we also can then get this done.
True.
Okay, I'm saying Canada because if we go Canada, we will do this, and that. All of this one you think we can do in the US, we can as well do it in Canada, and we can even get more. From Canada, then we can do this, we can do that. We do that both ways in order to buttress our points and to make things easier. And we argue strategically, not
Mm-hmm.
just blindly
True.
because of selfishness.
Mm.
That's the word. If what you're talking about is not just about you alone, considering the family at large, or considering even the future, or considering the family goal, which ones aligns with the family goal, at the end of it, that determines how you both see it. Whichever of you have the superior argument can then take the lead to say, okay, then, apart from the fact that, by default, who believes that, okay, whatever the man says, where it ends. But in a relationship that every opinion and rights are being easily respected, you can both look at it, even if you're unable to conclude at that point, you can say, okay, you know what, let's give it a thought. We'll come back on this. Let
Mm.
me dwell on the points you have given. I will also check with mine to see what's the best we can do. By that, you both reach a very, very good conclusion, a
Compromise.
mutual conclusion. Going forward from that, one beautiful thing about it is that you don't have to then come. So let's say at the end of the day, going to the US was it, and then went US, and then something tragic happened in the US, one way or the other, and then you come back and say, you see, I told you, your coconut head, you will not listen to me, you will never
Yeah.
listen to me, and all of that. No, we don't go that way anymore. Once we decide, we both agree that two hearts have come together to become one, and we have decided to do this. Whatever happens along the line, there's no blame games. We're never going to point fingers, and we'll just know that, okay, we made this mistake, and that's it.
You learn
Another typical example is investments.
from.
Okay, because we keep our money together and we are transparent with our spending and everything. All right, let's put this money together in this
Investment.
investment. I say, no, 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 no. I won't do that. That's not going to last. That's not going to profit us. That's going to be a scam. No, that's not going to end well. At the end of the day, maybe one of the spouses want to say, okay, fine. All right, if you want us to invest, okay, I'll go with you. You have been able to prove your point. We'll get this, we'll get that. Right? Okay. I'm in support, then we go ahead. And then at the end of the day, the money went down the drain.
Down-
Nobody will say, oh, you
I told you.
see, when I was telling you, you never listen. You are so this, you are so that, and all of that. And then it continues. So,
Okay.
well, and along the line too, if possibly you both did not invest, and at the end of the day, you hear people saying, oh, we got 1000% dividends, from that. And I'm like, well, you can't say you see yourself, you see your life, and all of that.
Okay.
It
All
shouldn't
right.
be that.
Okay. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
So to buttress your point, you work as a team, and then at the end of the day, there is no blame game for any decision you both decide to make. That's really amazing. That's really amazing. So, do you think practicing vulnerability can also help with intimacy in marriage?
100%. Vulnerability is very important.
Yeah,
It's so
you talked about
important
that
that
in your book, and we really want to learn more from that.
Thank you. So vulnerability is so important that you can't take it out of the equation at all. And where from experience, most issues come from the side of the men. And I'm not speaking for the women in any way. So, but where we choose not to be vulnerable, we tend to draw the line as to where your partner, how far your partner can come. It varies for different homes anyway. So, but what I say about that is if you're vulnerable to each other, it helps your relationship, it helps your union, it helps your family at large. It helps you to have a sense of family values where both of you both understand what you want for your family, you both stand for the same thing, you both know where you're going, you both know what aligns with your union and what does not. Where you have everything in the open to your partner, because I say to my friends, how do you stand naked before someone and then you're hiding your bank account?
True.
So which is more important, where you tend to cover your nakedness and then you expose your bank account, vice versa. Which one, happens to be the best? But in situation where the man or the woman draws the line, I've seen situation with women as well, draw the line to say this is all you can know, or
Yeah,
this is what you have
absolutely.
access, all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it creates a lot of limitation. It creates gray areas where issues can continue to thrive, where problems can get in at any point in time, not just for the spouse, but also for the children and also for the entire family at large. Because by going that way, one day, one little crack will lead to something that the whole family is not able to handle at the
Mm,
end of the day. I've seen a lot of situations, I've seen a lot of stories, but time will not permit us to be able
mm,
to go deeper in that. But then, going by the Bible, that two shall become one. If two truly will become one, it means that whatever is in A is in B as
mm.
well.
True.
Whatever A can say, B should be able to say the same. And the
Absolutely.
two aligns, yeah, and are able to say one thing, at a time. Even if there are differences, which is fine because you're dealing with two individuals, most important thing is the fact that there's an understanding, there's a mutual understanding to be able to see beyond what somebody out there will not be able to see. Because a
Mm,
number of people are vulnerable outside, even to their friends, more than their spouses.
mm.
So where their spouse have no idea what's going on, their friend knows
That's
everything
exactly
that's
what's.
going on in the home.
I,
So I used to see a man whose account officer knows everything about his finances, where he's spending his money, where he has kept his money, where he's invested, and then the spouse knows next to
doesn't know.
nothing
Mm,
about the whole thing.
yeah.
So that way.
I completely agree with you. For me, I would say that marriage isn't 50-50. Marriage is actually 100-100. Everybody should bring in 100 and 100 because, like you said, the Bible said the two becomes one. So if we are one, then you should bring in your 100 while I bring in my 100 to make the whole, right? So I completely agree with you on that. And you also talked about supporting each other's personal and professional growth, and that could also enhance marriages.
Yeah, so supporting each other's professional journey and maybe business journey is vital
Mm,
because that's what builds the family. That's what the family's livelihood is built upon. So if it's business, um, income from that business or proceeds from that business is used to sustain the family. And also the career, the professional journey of any of the spouse is also very, very important in this regard. And that also helps, to build the family and help the family to get stronger. Where one is left alone without support, the other spouse could feel unsupported
yeah.
and at that point could feel that, oh, so I'm alone in my journey and
Mm,
there's no support from the so-called spouse, and then at the end of the day it brings in one problem or the other. I've had privilege of speaking to someone who's in banking, and while growing and climbing the ladder, it's been one fellow worker, she and she's dealing with another male in the office who had happened to be the one guiding her through the ladder. Say, okay, do this, learn this, go for this masters, go for this training, add this to your portfolio, be part of this, join this association, join this group on LinkedIn, make your CV this way, and all of that and all of that. And then at the end of the day, thanks to that guy, and no thanks to the man at home who really doesn't care whether or not she gets better or improves on her career or not. And then same way goes for maybe a man who's in business, and then wife really hasn't been much supportive in the area of the business, to even know what's going on. All she wants to know is how much is coming in, and for the man to pay for trips and pay for everything, and give her all the money as the Odogu has expected. And then at the end of the day, there's one girl or one lady out there, who is very supportive of the man, helping with social media, helping with one thing or the other, putting marketing in place, bringing opportunities and all of that in. And then at the end of the day, the man feels, what's the use of the one at home?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, it looks like this person is sound or more enlightened or more of an asset than, the partner at home.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that two comes together one way or the other. Of course, iron sharpens iron, but one where you have no idea of even what the other person is doing or happens to be. And that's where one thing comes in, sharing the vision of what business you're doing. Where do you see yourself? And also in the career, where do you see yourself? And then being able to be an accountability partner to yourself. Say, how far have you gone? What are you doing? What are your plans for this year? What training do you want to get? What certificate do you want to acquire? And what, helping each other to, move ahead in the business. How far have you gone? Are you expanding the business? Are you marketing? Are you adding this to, I came across this. I think this would be good for your business. I saw this. I asked about this, all of that, one way or the other had a little to whatever the projection or the idea for the year or for the term being is. But where that is lacking, it creates a form of emptiness or a form of lack of support,
Yeah.
where the other person feels, well,
In one of my recent podcasts, I talked about marriage being a partnership, and that when both parties tries personally and professionally, then the marriage lasts longer. Then there is fulfillment in the marriage. So that brings me to my next point, which is love languages. I know the viewers have been waiting for this. So how do you say that love language impact intimacy and connection in marriage? This is very, very important because partners don't know what their spouse's love language is, and that becomes a problem because they don't feel loved right, they don't feel fulfilled because they feel, oh, my partner is not loving me the way I want to be loved. So love language is very, very key in every relationship.
love language is very, very vital in relationship, especially, well, let me say relationship generally. So very, very vital, very important. But as much as important as it is, I have like two sides of it. So there's a side where I agree with virtually everything, and there's another side of it where I don't agree.
You don't
Yeah,
have.
so where I agree with everything, I agree that everybody has a love language. You might have two, you might have three, some might have even everything. Some actually don't even know what they want. But we can say, oh, they respond more to this than that, and it has different aspects of it in terms of even where you say this person's love language is words of affirmation, and you think you're saying the word of affirmation, and that is not how that person wants it, or you're not even saying enough. So there is more to unravel in that aspect. So where I don't totally agree is where I know that there are a number of changes. Even people change. Even
True.
someone else had seen that, oh, I don't respond to gifts that much. I would rather I have my husband stay with me all day, or time is more important. Quality time being spent together is more important to me than gifts, than any other thing, than act of service and all of that. Well, the same person sees how it's working for somebody else and then feel, oh, I wish, or decides that, okay, this is cool. I think I love this, and then where the spouse will feel, but you don't like act of service. You
Exactly.
always want it. and I'm buying gifts, and you're not saying, you not help me do this, you not do that, you not do, like, I thought it's only gift you want. So let me just buy you a gift and zero on every other. I don't mind scoring zero on the rest of it. So I always just feel that we respond to everything, as much as you have the capacity to, do all of them one after the other. Because the good about it is that everything you do in your marriage, I would say, as positive things, would be an investment any day, time. So take it that you always offer words of affirmation to your wife. It's not something bad at all. Or maybe you say it to your husband every morning, every day, every night, and all of that. I don't know who will turn that away and say, look, I don't like all these words of affirmation. I don't like say it to me. I've seen anyone who doesn't like such words, even as text messages, even as email, even singing love songs to you. I saw how you can use AI to sing a special song for your wife, just using AI. AI will do all the lyrics, would even get you if you want a male voice or a female voice and all of that. And the guy puts it up, and everyone was like, really? And didn't see anyone who said he's always rubbish, or they are not fascinated by something like that, or they don't fancy such. So that's one. Another one is act of service. I've not seen any lady or any man. So even if the man washes the car all the time and your wife says, babe, I'll wash the car today, don't worry, I know you will, as a man, you will feel like, oh really? And she goes ahead, to clean up the car, wash the car, do what normally you think is just masculine to do, same way where the man, does all the house chores and everything. I've seen a number of women who say, oh, I don't cook, my husband cooks. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And sometimes it looks like, how possible is that? Is there any woman who doesn't like that? Even if you love to cook, you also would like to sit down and watch the soap back to back, and then your food is being served. So is there anybody that says, no,
Yeah.
I don't want that? I only love words of affirmation. What I want. Yeah,
Yeah.
another
So
person is quality time. So I'm just giving an example of all, so that it's not like it's one thing I want, or it's two things I want, I don't want the rest of it, or maybe it's just physical touch that I want. We all know that physical touch is something you can't do without. Or how does someone say, I don't like touching, or I don't even touch, and so that's just for me. As a lot of people will agree that everyone has a love language. If you ask me, I don't have one. I want all the five.
So the thing is, I totally agree with you. In as much as someone have a love language, you should also be able to provide all the other ones, irrespective of if they are keen on it or not. So what would you tell our listeners regarding love language?
As regards love language, you study your partner. And when I mean study like you want to have a PhD in this person. So that's like the best way to put it. If you know somebody too well, somebody, when we say see finish, already means that this is somebody that you know inside out. Like, bringing the five into action will help the marriage. Maybe one now performs more than the other. That's fine. But who out there doesn't want to be showered with gifts? Who out there doesn't want to be on an island for months or for weeks with your spouse, with nothing to worry about? Who out there wants to say like, oh, I've not done this, I've not done that, and your spouse says, don't worry, I've done everything, I've handled it all, and then so that's where the whole thing comes from. But where one part is left alone to like, really, you don't care, or there are attitudes that point to the fact that you're actually not looking out for this person, not looking after this person, not thinking of this person always, not showing that love, let me put it that way, because love encompasses of all of the different actions. As far as that is not there, then there's a problem one way or the other. But to take that problem out of it, start all the love languages, begin to practice them, whether Monday for one, Tuesday for another one, Wednesday, and all of that, and you keep going round the circle. Tell me how somebody will not think of how can I replicate.
Thanks for coming on So Serenity Podcast. It's really, really lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Nicole.
All right. So thank you for watching today. And if you enjoyed this episode, kindly subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another episode, and kindly like, comment, and also share with someone who needs to hear this. So bye for now. Thank you.